On November 2nd, 2022, a single news article changed everything. 7 days later, $32 billion had vanished. 1 million customers couldn't access their money, and the second largest crypto exchange in the world was dead. Sam Bankman-Fried spent those 7 days doing one thing: desperately calling every billionaire, every bank, every investor he knew, begging for money. Nobody came. This is the story of the 7 days that destroyed FTX and ended the career of the man who called himself the savior of crypto. Welcome back to Dark Money and Power. This is part 2 of our Sam Bankman-Fried series. In part 1, we covered his rise, the MIT physics graduate who built a billion-dollar trading firm at 25, the crypto exchange that became worth $32 billion in 3 years, the philanthropist who donated millions while secretly stealing billions. Today, we cover the fall. 7 days, day by day, hour by hour. Because what happened inside FTX during those 7 days was unlike anything the financial world had ever seen. Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. A financial news website called CoinDesk published a story. It was based on a leaked document, Alameda Research's private balance sheet. The numbers were shocking. Alameda's largest single asset, worth $3.66 billion, was FTT. FTT was a token that FTX itself had created. It had no real backing, no real value outside of FTX's own ecosystem. In other words, the trading firm that was supposed to be independent from FTX was secretly propped up by a coin that FTX printed itself. It was a house of cards, and someone had just pulled the first card. The crypto world immediately started asking questions. If Alameda collapsed, what would happen to FTX? If FTT collapsed, what would happen to Alameda? Sam Bankman-Fried said nothing publicly, but behind closed doors, his phone was already ringing non-stop. 4 days after the CoinDesk article, the most powerful man in crypto made a move. Changpeng Zhao, known simply as CZ, the CEO of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. CZ and Sam had history. Binance had been an early investor in FTX, and Sam had bought them out in 2021 for $2.1 billion. Part of that payment had been made in FTT tokens. On November 6th, CZ made a public announcement on Twitter. Binance would be selling all of its FTT holdings, every single token, $2.1 billion worth. The reason he gave: recent revelations that have come to light. 3 words. That's all it took. Within hours, the price of FTT began to collapse, and FTX customers, already nervous after the CoinDesk article, started withdrawing their money. On November 6th alone, FTX processed almost $1 billion in withdrawal requests in a single day. Sam tried to respond. He tweeted, "FTX is fine. Assets are fine." Nobody believed him. By November 7th, the withdrawal requests had surged to $4 billion in 48 hours. FTX had $800 million available. The math was impossible, and Sam Bankman-Fried knew it. On November 7th, Sam Bankman-Fried started making phone calls. Desperate, frantic, humiliating phone calls. He called venture capital firms. He called hedge funds. He called sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East. He called other crypto exchanges. He needed $8 billion immediately. Every call ended the same way. No. The man who had once been courted by the most powerful investors in the world couldn't get a single person to return his calls. And then, in a moment of pure desperation, Sam called CZ. The same man who had just publicly announced he was selling all his FTT. Sam offered to sell Binance the entire FTX exchange. CZ said yes, conditionally. Binance would acquire FTX pending due diligence. A full review of FTX's books and finances. For a few hours, it looked like FTX might survive. Sam announced the deal publicly. The crypto market breathed a small sigh of relief. But that relief lasted less than 24 hours. On November 8th, Binance's due diligence team began reviewing FTX's financial records. What they found was catastrophic. FTX had an $8 billion hole in its balance sheet. $8 billion of customer money simply missing. Secretly transferred to Alameda Research over months and years. Used for trades, for investments, for political donations, for real estate in the Bahamas, for celebrity endorsements. The due diligence team reported back to CZ within hours. CZ made his decision immediately. Binance was walking away. They issued a statement. As a result of corporate due diligence, as well as the latest news reports regarding mishandled customer funds and alleged U.S. agency investigations, we have decided that we will not pursue the potential acquisition of FTX.com. The moment that statement went public, FTX was finished. Bitcoin dropped 13% in a single day. The entire crypto market lost hundreds of billions in value. And 1 million FTX customers logged into their accounts and saw the same message. Withdrawals suspended. Their money was gone. On November 11, 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. 130 affiliated companies, all gone. Sam Bankman-Fried resigned as CEO. In his resignation statement, he said, "I'm sorry, I fucked up." That was it. No explanation, no detail. Just, "I'm sorry, I fucked up." The man appointed to replace him was named John Ray III, a veteran financial restructuring expert, the same man who had overseen the Enron bankruptcy in 2001. John Ray had seen financial disasters up close his entire career. But when he looked at FTX's records, he said something remarkable. "Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information." The man who cleaned up Enron said FTX was worse. Let that sink in. After the bankruptcy, Sam Bankman-Fried didn't go into hiding. He went on a media tour. Interviews, Twitter spaces, press appearances. He sat in his Bahamas penthouse, still in his t-shirt, and told anyone who would listen that he didn't know what had happened, that it was all a mistake, that he never meant to hurt anyone. He was even scheduled to testify before the United States Congress on December 13, 2022, about the collapse of FTX. He never made it. On December 12, 2022, the night before his congressional testimony, Bahamian authorities arrested Sam Bankman-Fried at his residence in Nassau. The man who had once been called the next Warren Buffett was handcuffed in his luxury penthouse, still wearing his t-shirt and cargo shorts. The following day, the United States Department of Justice unsealed an indictment. Wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. 8 charges in total. On December 22nd, Sam's parents signed a $250 million bond. He was released to house arrest in his parents' home in California. The boy from Stanford was back in his childhood bedroom, waiting for trial. And the clock was already ticking. 1 million customers. $8 billion missing. 8 criminal charges. And yet, Sam Bankman-Fried still believed he could win. His lawyers built a defense. He gave interview after interview. He even continued tweeting from house arrest until a judge ordered him to stop. Inside the courtroom, his closest friends and colleagues, the people he had trusted with everything, were now sitting across the aisle. as prosecution witnesses. His ex-girlfriend, his closest business partner, his co-founder. They had all taken plea deals, and they were all prepared to testify that Sam Bankman-Fried knew exactly what he was doing. From the very beginning. In Part 3, the final episode, we go inside the trial. The witnesses who destroyed him, the moment the jury delivered its verdict, and the sentencing that sent a 31-year-old man to 25 years in federal prison. Part 3 drops this Friday. Subscribe now so you're there from the beginning. This is Dark Money and Power, the truth they don't want you to know.